Hello.
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 I was doing a pregnant pause.
Hello.
It seems I know we haven't had an episode of this in like 2 weeks, but it seems like much longer, doesn't it? Is it just me?
It seems like
It feels like a
ages.
while.
I
Yeah, it
think
does feel
if
like
you're a regular viewer on this little talk show, then yes. But then again, for like me and Richard, we see you pretty much a couple more times in the week. So,
Yeah, true.
we hear you a bit more often, so it doesn't seem so long. But
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And then literally, Loz, we were just talking about you.
Yeah.
We were saying, well, Owen was saying how I'm such a loony lefty. And on people's screens, obviously, I'm always on the left, so people know where we are. So I'm wondering if we need to sort out some kind of unconscious bias. But once a week is enough for my dose of James. See, there we go. It's completely fair. This is why the kids are sick and tired of me. But it's been a while. How's everyone's couple of weeks been? Owen, you go first. Go for it.
It's not actually been too bad, though. It's been quite lonely at home because I'm the only one here at the moment. Because my parents and my brother have commitments. Parents working, my brother at college, his personal chauffeur right here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you're just driving him everywhere.
Believe me, he's been looking for cancellations every single day, trying to find out a way to get his test booked. So,
Lawrence is asking if you can have a house party.
It's really hard to get it booked, isn't it?
I don't particularly have that many of friends that would do that with me because I'm pretty much the designated driver. So I would be the massive buzzkill.
No, you wouldn't, because you don't have to drive anywhere because it would be your house.
That is true. But the majority of the time, I think everyone would just go up to my dog and give him a big cuddle because he's just a massive teddy bear.
That is actually true. I feel like I am definitely that person at anybody's house that as soon as you see a dog, it's like, yeah, I know I'm here for a 3-course meal that you've spent 2 days preparing, but you've got a dog.
You've got my brother's mate came over just yesterday. The kitchen floor was covered in his fur because he molts like crazy.
Oh dear, Lawrence. Yes, I'm sure he will be responsible as well. Richard,
I am the responsible one.
You are definitely.
I'm definitely Lawrence. I'm the responsible one here. This one isn't.
Responsible on camera.
Look, I mean, Lawrence will definitely believe everything you want to tell him about me. That's fine. Richard, what have you been up to?
Back at college.
Yay!
No.
No?
I mean, yesterday was okay. Today I am very tired because I've been there since 8:30 and I just got home.
8:30? I used to get there for about 7 o'clock.
Well, for someone who's been going to sleep between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. the past 5 months to having to wake up at like 6 now, killed.
Kind of your own fault.
Yeah,
and we've literally just lost Charlotte for a second. Hello, Emma. Nice seeing you again. Yeah, we just lost Charlotte. She's coming in through a phone. Hello again, Charlotte. I think it's going to be like that because you're using your phone. Are you using Android, perchance?
No, I'm using an iPhone. I think the Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy today.
Is it the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
It might
It keeps dipping in and out. I've moved closer to the router, so hopefully it'll work a bit better. For goodness sake.
Just a personal note, that doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work.
No.
And Lawrence is taking the mickey out of you by saying I get in at 8:30. But does he feel you students in Scotland we get free FE and HE? Okay, free FE and HE.
You get free higher education. Damn it!
Yeah, in Scotland they do.
I've got 12.
I mean, they've had that for a while. That's been in case for a while. I think. I mean, Lawrence, you're of similar age to me. I think both us going to uni, we both had to pay, didn't we? But it's not as much as it is now. I can't remember when they brought it in. Was it late 90s when you had to pay? I can't quite remember.
Normal
anyway,
tuition would be about £9,000. I think the normal tuition is £9,000 for like universities.
Wasn't it 4.5 at one point?
Yes, it was 4.5 at one point. Yeah, so you got that extra money that paid for accommodation and stuff.
Yeah.
See, I think had it a little bit easier because I paid £6,000.
Not as easy as Lawrence, apparently. All these uni fees
No.
were paid for by the rugby team. All right, mate. Show off.
All right for some.
Oh, hello. So, Richard, your dad's come on to sale. Just
Hiya.
he's okay. Oh, that's good. Do you know what, Chris?
Ah.
That is excellent news. We're really glad to hear it. Charlotte, what have you been up to?
Not too much really. I've been doing some uni research for my dissertation, kind of getting stuff sorted for this year. I've seen a few friends. I'm just trying to make the most of it before I have to go back to uni, to be honest.
It's if you've got a few weeks yet till you go back, is it? Is it end of September?
Yeah, I think it's sort of it's normally the end of September, start of October kind of time. So I've still got a few weeks. It's my birthday on Saturday as well, so
Is
I'm
it?
ready for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well.
My
So you're having the party at Owen's house, are you? Because he's got the free
Of course
house.
I am. You're all coming over. Of course I am.
Oh well, Charlotte, happy birthday!
Well, thank you.
The big 2-1.
The big 2-1.
The big
It's gonna be
2-1.
crazy.
I can't even remember my 21st birthday.
Honestly.
Probably the one that lost all your hair.
Do you know? Actually, I think I was 23 when I shaved my hair off, so it was all right. Lawrence has just said, but Charlotte, you have the freshers fair, so you've got to focus. The freshers are already there. Right. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about vaccines being available for younger people. So some of the research we've done today is like they're looking at making it available for directly for 12 to 15-year-olds. But there's loads of different stuff from across the world. There's loads of people looking at the data in different ways. So I just kind of want to ask you, because you're the young people, what your thoughts are on the idea, but also field any questions from Loz, because I think he wanted to ask you some questions about it. So here's the information we've got so far. They want to offer in this country the vaccines for children aged 12 to 15, okay, but only at the moment in cases where they've got severe health conditions that might, if they catch COVID, obviously could have a detrimental effect. Now, I'm just going to come all out. I mean, Lawrence knows this. Anyone, if you do. My mum is currently in hospital with COVID. Has been in there for a week now. When she initially went in, it was kind of quite scary, obviously. She's on oxygen and all that kind of stuff. But she has had both vaccines, both doses, right? So there's a lot of evidence that, especially from America, where they haven't taken on the vaccine, the hospitalizations are about 6 or 7 times higher in those states where nobody's had the vaccine, okay, or double jab. So it makes me think, kind of, for me personally, which without going into any kind of anti-vax rhetoric or vax rhetoric, makes me glad that she's had both vaccines. To be honest, both doses, just in case, because it was a bit touch and go. So, Owen, let's go to you first.
Okay.
So the offer of the vaccine for young people aged 12 to 15. Now, bear in mind also, under 16-year-olds can already, if they show competency and knowledge, say that they can decline or accept a different vaccine. Okay. So what's your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I'm guessing this would be children like 12 to 15-year-olds who have like some sort of proper, what was the term that you used for like someone with health, is it health conditions, like severe health conditions?
Severe health conditions, yeah.
Severe health conditions, then that would be acceptable for them, because like we did for the elderly, we got them done first, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for them, for children with those sort of symptoms or have a very weak immune system, then it would probably be best for them to have it because it would help them. Then obviously, as time goes by, it will be opened up to 12 and 15-year-olds again.
Yeah.
Properly, officially. I think that's a clever idea. I do think I think they did that a little bit late. I think if they had severe health conditions, why didn't they get the vaccine straight away? Maybe, but
well, that's because I'll get the data up because I was looking at it earlier.
But I think you're going on the lines of the fact that we don't have enough data about younger people for vaccine effects.
We actually have got some data that suggests from a US study. This US study I've got to add because that's the only information I could get. That the detrimental health effects to young people. There was an increased risk of getting what was it called myocarditis with the vaccine than without. So myocarditis is like a heart condition, really, a minor heart condition. So by taking the vaccine, you're actually putting young people more at risk because the heart condition can develop when you're young, so you're affecting their growth. And more at risk of that than actually preventing COVID. So what do you think of that?
I think it's
Lawrence,
tricky.
I'm going to keep... Sorry, Charlotte, I'm just going to interrupt for a second. Lawrence, okay. I'm going to go through your questions in a second that you're putting up there. Go on, Charlotte.
I was just saying, I think it's quite difficult because obviously, when you're quite young, it's quite a big decision to make, especially I feel like your parents would have to be involved as well. And I think, I don't know, because you're having to kind of weigh up the pros and cons a bit. But I think I think it's really important, and I think it's a big benefit that young people are being offered it, even if at the moment it's only people with health problems, because I think it's a step in the right direction. But I think it's tricky to kind of expect not only a child but their family to kind of make the decision, as there could be severe side effects of the vaccine.
I mean, when I say these side effects as well, I got to kind of add that so the US from this look, even though there was this 6 times more chance of developing as myocarditis, they vaccinated more than 10 million over 12s and concluded that the benefits of protecting against COVID illness and its complications far outweigh the small potential risk of an adverse reaction. And so I couldn't actually find the percentage of because when they say 6 times more likely, that's obviously a scary number, isn't it, when you say 6 times more likely? But if the original likelihood is 0.001%, it's still a very, very tiny amount, isn't it? So, I mean, to put this into context, if I say, the chance of developing this was originally... Oh, I've got double Charlotte there. Which one am I? Let's do this one.
Oh my goodness!
It's great. I love it. So if it's 1 in a million chance, and that increases by 6, that's 6 in a million chance. So 6 people out of every 1 million might develop the myocarditis.
The key word there, might.
Yeah.
Whereas,
it could always be more or less, couldn't it?
Yeah. Exactly, but it's a might, but there's no evidence to suggest that it's that dangerous. So, I was going to move on to Richard next, but he's disappeared. So, I'm just going to bring up some of what Lawrence say. So, Lawrence said, students don't get a say on MMR vaccine and other jabs. Parents do. So, why all of a sudden are young people given a choice? I mean, do you think it's solely the rights of parents to decide on this? I mean, also with the MMR vaccine, you have that a lot younger.
I think it's tricky because kind of at that age, I mean, you are becoming more independent, and I think everyone should have a say. I mean, it's their body, isn't it? And I think, I don't know. I think it's important for the parents to have a say, but also for the children as well.
See, I'm inclined to say that the fact before we might have not had a say, but due to the recent events that have been happening in the last, say, 5 years of human rights and all this, that they're not going to say ignore that and say okay, no, the parents have the choice of this. No, they're going to give the children the actual chance to have a say and not go back on their words or go back in time, as it were, where they've said they wouldn't. So yeah, we may have had the what was the jab name again? MMR, MMR jab. I think I've probably had that jab or something like that. I don't know.
I think everyone's had it, most people, unless
everyone.
I think.
MMR is
so
measles, isn't it?
Measles and mumps.
Measles, mumps, and rubella.
Yeah. Okay.
So pretty much everybody has that.
Pretty much.
What age do you have it at?
I think you have it when you're under 2 a lot of the time, I think.
I do, yeah. Because I think we had, I think in secondary school I had like top-up jabs for it. But that was, you had to get your parents' consent for it. Yeah.
Let me check on the NHS.
Yeah, so if your parent didn't want you to have it, then you wouldn't have it.
No. Yeah, so you have the MNR schedule is the first dose at 1 year, and the second dose at 3 years, 3.5 years.
Because obviously you don't get a say in it, do you?
No.
What is there, like 3 jabs for MMR?
No, two normally. You might have when you have that stuff at secondary school, there's usually top ups and stuff like that.
I know that the female side of schools get more top ups than the male side because of different stuff anyway. But I know I've had at least.
Well, that's very sexist. Why are these women getting all the vaccines? I want the vaccines.
I don't particularly know. I don't know the full statistics of it. I'm just saying from when I was in school that the majority of my female classmates had to go for jabs more often than
I think
people of males.
I think the ones that girls had, they were for ovarian cancer and things like that. That's what I had more than boys did. So I think there was ones specifically for girls. Because we're at higher risk of developing it at that age, I guess.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. What were the those vaccines for then? What specific conditions, Charlotte? Do you know?
I have no idea. I think one of them was for ovarian cancer. I can't remember any of the others, to be honest. I mean, there must have been.
James, have a quick look.
Girls, but...
Do a little quick search on it.
Hold on.
I can't quite remember.
Unless Lawrence has beat you to it.
No, Lawrence has brought up another point, actually, which is an interesting one.
I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna have a look at that.
I'm gonna pause searching it up.
Extra vaccine jabs for girls.
That is
girls.
I've just read your comment at the very bottom, Lawrence.
Yeah, we'll get onto that in a second, Lawrence.
Yeah, get onto that in a minute, but just answer what I asked you, James.
HPV, that's just adolescents. NHS vaccines and when to have them. So pregnant women offered the flu vaccine. No, I can't find anything separate there apart from the 3-in-1 teenage booster.
And that's for everyone. That's for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
You're on the train using your phone, so you can't click off the video. Everyone's watching it. So Lawrence, I've seen one of your early marks here, and that's not true of lefties, eh? Shut up, Lawrence, you naughty boy. Just see that. So girls can get the jab for ovarian cancer, but lads can't get one for testicular cancer. This is a good point, Lawrence, I think, for Owen and Richard. Boys, how much do you know about testicular cancer? Apart from that's cancer.
I think the face. I think I think the face says it all. Like,
yeah. Charlotte, on the opposite. What are you taught about ovarian cancer, if anything?
Not a lot, really. I don't really know much about it. But I do think boys should be given the opportunity to get on for testicular cancer as well, if it's a risk.
Yeah, because the same really goes for breast cancer, right? So there's a lot of information available to women for breast cancer, right? Now, Lawrence has actually gone through this for cancer as well. He's had chemo. Saying it's rough. Chemo wrecks your hair, skin, and taste buds. As you can see by his picture, he's almost as handsome as me with no hair. But we as men, really, there's not as much information out there. There's very few help groups, really. It's just not as brought together as well. It's just really weird. We've gone off a bit of a tangent here, but I'm just gonna put, so Chris has said girls at school offered a jab for female cancer, set of 3 jabs. Right, okay, so presume that's for the 1 in 4 young men are at risk but don't really know how to check or what to do. Yeah, it's a big thing. And then he said it's a wide parting. I'm going to start using that. You baldy.
I do just want to mention my dad is in the other room and he has us on the TV.
That's brilliant. I like it. That's great. So it's definitely not you wrecking your internet. It's your dad. I like that. So right. So going back to Lawrence's point earlier about so you don't get a choice about the MMR vaccine. You don't get a choice about a few other vaccines. Should we have a choice about the COVID vaccine?
I think to a certain extent, everyone should have a choice because, I mean, it's your body. It's what you're putting in your body. But
yeah,
at the same time, I don't know. It's a tricky one, I think, because I think you can't force people into doing stuff they don't want to do, especially when it comes to their body. But it would be beneficial, I think, if everyone wants to have it, and it would reduce the risk of it spreading further and getting any worse. But it's tricky.
Yeah, I mean, the other side is, I mean, Lawrence, I'm sure will back me up on this. I mean, we know on social media some very vocal anti-vaxxers that, I mean, I get what their point about it, but a lot of their arguments are just, I just feel like they just need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid, as it were, really, and take the aluminium hat off their head. I just think. I mean, there's so much evidence that says it's good. And Lawrence has said, are the anti-vaxxers the same as flat earthers? No, they're not. But I found that when you call an anti-vaxxer a flat earther, they get really annoyed. And when you call a flat earther an anti-vaxxer, they get really annoyed as well. It's really fun. It's a really fun game on social media.
It's like playing them. It's basically sort of like having Guybot, the robot on the internet, go have a conversation with Girlbot. It's that little tangents of they are disagreeing on each other. It's just that sort of scenario.
But I think choice is still very important. Actually,
I would agree.
In. So yes, we need a choice, but if I was offered the 3rd booster jab, you won't take it. I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, I think in my case, because with my mum being in hospital and stuff, I mean, she's 64. She has a few health conditions anyway, but nothing that would affect the COVID to this extent. But the COVID has just attacked her, and now she's on oxygen in hospital. So I think the 3rd booster for some people is a very good idea, just like you can get extra flu jab vaccinations once a year if you work with vulnerable people. I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? If you're associating or working with vulnerable people, it's mainly about protecting them.
Yeah, that would be the logical thinking. That would be our logical thinking. Yeah.
Also, I've got a question across the chat here. So Lawrence has asked for you, Chris, why you won't have the booster. So this is another interesting side. I mean, I haven't really spoken to my mum about whether she wants the booster or not. I mean, I'm just wondering if the whole thing that Sajid Javid was talking about, the case for the booster, like rolling out. I mean, I reckon there'll be lots of people that will just look at it like a once a year extra vaccination. I mean, I pay for my flu vaccinations. Like when I was going to see my girlfriend's parents who were very ill at the time, you know, we're like doing care and stuff. And I had the extra jab just to protect them. Cost me £8 or whatever it is, you know. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So Chris has said he believes his health problems was brought on by the second vaccination. Okay, cool. All right.
Same here.
Same there. Okay, so it's complicated some of the issues, yeah.
I mean, I said since the beginning that it was something to do with vaccine.
Okay.
So
is your dad perhaps, because there is very rare instances of like allergic reactions to certain vaccinations? Do you think? I mean, the doctor's investigating it for your dad?
no.
No. Right. Okay. So well, maybe that's the thing that now you're watching, Chris. Maybe maybe tell the doctors that they need to investigate it and work out what's going on. And then Lawrence, I suffer from the Moderna jab, but okay with jab number 2. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's different. It's new science, isn't it? Really. So, right, what else have we got to talk about COVID? Do you want to know how other countries are treating it for young people at the moment? A little bit.
Go on then. Go on.
So, Denmark and Spain have both now vaccinated most of their 12 to 15 child population with at least one dose. China,
that's really good.
Have had allowed some 3 to 17-year-olds to be offered a first jab of the vaccine.
3-year-olds.
Okay.
3-year-olds, yeah. So
I was just thinking, okay.
You know, we're waiting on the science, aren't we? Sweden, for 12 to 15-year-olds, are offering it only eligible for vaccine if they have lung disease, severe asthma, or another high-risk medical condition.
That's understandable. That's understandable.
I just find it very confusing how there's different rules in each country, and I think it's kind of unfair because you know I find it difficult because it's not consistent everywhere.
So
I don't really know.
So the World Health Organization obviously put their recommendations forward, and the European
is that the same for all countries?
Whether they listen to it is up to them. That's the thing. It's the same. It's the same thing with any information. Like Owen, if you tell me that the sky is fluorescent green, and I go, "Oh, is it?" and I don't look out the window, it's up to me whether I believe you or not. I mean, that's an extreme example.
That is a very extreme example. But I'll call you absolutely bonkers if you ever.
Yeah, exactly. I am bonkers. But the EMA, European Medical Agency, obviously say this is what we are recommending based on the information that our scientists are doing. But then it's up to the individual countries what they want to do, because also you got to think like Denmark, right, is in comparison to us very left wing, right? Very left wing. We would class what Denmark does as a government like loony leftism, right? But what actually happens in Denmark, according to them, they consider that a bit more central. And if they went to like the extreme left, their extreme left, we would go, well, that's communism. That's just mad. But that's the thing. So every country and its culture and its governments and all that kind of stuff, they've developed from their own zeitgeist, really, and stuff like that, and they're up to making their own decisions. I mean, our government, I mean, is very right wing in comparison to a lot of the rest of Europe. Very right wing, but have had to be very left wing, have very left wing policies to get us through the pandemic, which really makes me giggle. You know, because everyone was calling Jerry.
Of course, it will make you giggle.
Jerry Corbyn a complete madman for offering free internet, and then what's happened?
He's kicked the bucket.
No, they're like, oh, I think we should have free internet in places. It's just so it's a bit weird. So I've got I'll just go through some of this. So Lawrence has said, did you youngsters suffer from it, or did any of your friends? I presume COVID and the vaccine, so either or. I mean, did any of you have a jab and feel a bit ill?
I did both jabs, and I just got really tired, to be honest. Some of my friends felt a little bit ill kind of the day of, and we all had like a like a bad arm and things for like a day or two. But interesting, my parents were both really ill with theirs, and people sort of my parents' generations seem to be more ill than my generation.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's a trend or I don't know. Yeah.
Don't know.
It just affects everyone differently, I think.
It probably does, but also the factor in that the immune system over time slows down. It's why the elders' immune system was so inefficient to get it done for them, so that they would probably be more safer against the more high risk of it. So but I do think.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I do think that for our sort of generation, like myself, Richard, and you, Charlotte, we have a much more higher immune system compared to the rest of the world. So I think no, it's just called being younger. It's called being younger, and and it kicks in quicker for us. But yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt Owen just because of one of Lawrence's comments. Are you saying round the elderly up and stop them spreading going? Oh my god!
I think that's what he's saying, you know.
He's not quite saying that, Lawrence. He's also got their nationwide curfew for all children aged 13 to 22 until they can speak properly and pull their trousers in.
Well, to be perfectly honest, Lawrence, I do have a very bad communication skills, I have to admit.
Yeah,
so
you're doing great, mate. You're doing great. I mean,
my communication isn't exactly the best. I sometimes put a little bit of a depressive sense on myself for that because I don't like it. But I know what I'm saying in here. I know what I'm saying in here. I know what I'm saying. It's just how I say it. It's just not the way I'd like to say it.
I mean, you guys, I think all remember when I got COVID at Christmas. I mean, it did knock me out for like a week and a half. Really, I was done. I was like not going to hospital like really bad, but like really, really ill, from it.
You just have like my friend had to go to hospital as well. So I think it affects because she's got asthma, so it really affected her.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's the risk because if you. Because if you've got another condition the COVID attacks it just can make it worse, and it needs checking. So obviously Lawrence has also said, but Danish bacon about me talking about Denmark, because he doesn't want to talk about those loony lefties in Denmark.
Well, something did come out of Denmark that is very good, and it's plastered all over my room. Lego.
What's that? Lego. It is good. No, I mean, right. So, I mean, that's a very much an extended political conversation, which I don't think we're ready for.
Might not be suitable.
On Free2talk TV.
We're not ready for that just yet.
No, I don't think we're ready because I mean, Lawrence and me, I think because we're older and we are both engaged in politics, but on in different ends of the spectrum, you know, and we will try to explain it. But it's not a simple matter, and it just reminds me of when one of the other young people, Lawrence, you might actually know like this. When I was trying to explain politics to him, he went, "Well, are the Conservatives the baddies then?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, damn it! I need to be a bit more neutral in this explanation." Right, so your dad Chris is saying, so he had the Moderna vaccine. So I think I had the Pfizer's one, then the Moderna one. I think so. I had the different one.
I had two Pfizer, I think.
You had two Pfizer. So this is the other interesting thing, because I hope, Chris, you don't mind me sharing this, because I presume you typed it out. So he's asked a heart doctor about the jabs, and he said that's $1 million question, meaning he does not know. And other doctors are saying, no, it's nothing to do with the vaccine.
Because you don't get a say in which one you get, do you? Really?
No, you don't. And I mean, I got to say, the rush to actually get a working vaccine, I kind of think they've done really well in that. But we won't know the after effects or the implications until a few years down the line.
No, so it could all be looking good now, but a few years down the line, there might all be an effective or something.
Yeah, or with Richard's dad, you know, and the issues with he's having with his heart. Was it caused by the vaccine? Was it not? Was it that Moderna vaccine? Should he have had the Pfizer's because of an underlying health condition or not an underlying health condition. There's all these extra questions. And Lawrence has said that it seems that Moderna has more side effects, but the Disney all boosters will be Pfizer. Yeah. So it's very complicated. It's almost as complicated as me trying to explain politics.
Not quite that complicated.
Because I am engaged with politics, but I'm definitely not a doctor. Or I could be a very bad hair doctor. What do we reckon?
I reckon so.
A very bad hair doctor. And then Lawrence has also put in conservatives are the ones stroking the white cats. Yes, you are. Right, that's enough of that vaccine at the moment. Because I want to cover.
Yeah, that is kind of terrifying me a little bit, I have to admit. So let's move on, please.
Well, it does bring me to something I definitely want to share that I didn't talk to anybody about. But we kind of naturally come onto it because Lawrence watches this show because he believes in your voice being heard, right? Other adults watch this show because they believe the same, right? I present this show with you because I want to empower you, right?
Yeah.
Me and Lawrence definitely read very different sources of information for when we want to get news or facts and stuff. Like Lawrence sent me something. Was it yesterday, Lawrence, or the day before? About, and it was a Daily Mail article, right? So I automatically just went. I just there's not a lot that can back this up, Lawrence. I didn't mess him back because I was working. But the same is for me, right? And I always go on about this, that media bias is a real thing, and you should read around everything. Now, I will automatically read. Lawrence just said he's claiming the fifth. It's true. So, media bias is a real thing. I always recommend trying to read around it, but you will obviously always read stuff that you feel comfortable with. Like I will often go to the BBC or left-wing publications or stuff like that. Not extreme left, but just left-wing. I think Lawrence, you will lean more to the right. Okay, so my friend shared this with me, and it's an interactive media bias chart, right? So I'm actually going to put the link in the chat. It does show some very interesting things that I do want to briefly talk about. So people always think about politics and information as being between left and right, okay? But it's not.
Yeah.
Because it's a square. Have you ever seen the square of politics, like left and right, but then you've got up and down, which is like authoritarianism, right? And then kind of more liberal. So when people call people liberals as an insult, they think that means left, but it doesn't. They get confused about where it is. So because you can have a right-wing authoritarian government, i.e. the Nazis in World War II.
Oh, right.
But you can also have a left-wing authoritarian government, which was like the Russians with Stalin. Now it was more. It's arguable about where they sit, right?
Okay, so it's not just left and right.
Not just left and right. There's this whole up and down stuff to go with. But the same can be said about this news. So the reason I've put the shared here, because you can actually click on these things and see where they are. So we can see that the BBC appears to be in the middle. Okay, middle or bias, but with a slightly skew of being left. Okay, now I would argue because when go on, Charlotte.
So I was just going to say that looks like it's one of the least biased areas on the thing.
Yeah. So it's got
so should be a good source to read.
Should be a good source to read. But I mean, Lawrence has already expressed how he doesn't like the BBC because he believes it's less reliable. So you can see this up and down. You've got more reliable, overall source reliability, and less reliable. So let's look at Fox News.
That just sounds unreliable, doesn't it?
So it's definitely over there. Apparently, it's overall reliable. but it's definitely on the right wing, skews right. Okay.
What source is this? Where are you getting this information from?
So this is called the Ads Fonts Media. So it's a bias chart that they've kind of created, and what they do is they use an algorithm to look at news reporting, and they try and work out how reliable it is and where it skews. So you got Russia Today, definitely a bit more right wing, kind of in the middle for reliability. You can see the Daily Mail all by itself down there. Definitely skews right, but apparently it's getting less reliable as it goes down. Infowars, Alex Jones show. You heard of Alex Jones? He's the one that said that stuff going into
chemicals in the water make the frogs gay.
Making the frogs gay. That's it. Thank you, Richard. The chemicals in the water make the frogs gay. And he just absolutely.
I wish we could put that on, but we can't because I've got that saved on my YouTube.
Well, so part of this. So, how many of these media reporting sources are influenced by political or religious bias funding? Well, that's the thing. You could probably get that information. But because you can filter it, you can go through it, but this will give you a really good idea, I think. Let's have a look at something that's really not reliable down here. What's this? World Truth TV. I've never heard of that. and with a name called World Truth, and it's apparently the least reliable thing on there.
Because I bet people don't believe it.
Very left wing. And not reliable. The Palmer Report. I have heard of that one actually. WokeNet, Woke. Is it WonkNet or something? Yeah, there's a few.
What's on the right? There. What's the most bottom right one?
I mean, I've got to say, generally, right. If you look at how it's covered, you can see this, right? It's darker, really, on the slight left bias there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is definitely darker. And also, from a lot of these, there's more. So, Infowars, that's definitely. But I think a few of these are actually duplicates. Gateway Pundit. Epoch Times. So, Epoch Times, that looks to me like it's religious stuff because of the word epoch. But there's a lot more unreliable sources on the right. Okay. He said, "Yeah, what gay frogs? He gets airtime." Well, not anymore. He doesn't get airtime.
No, it's a shame.
And you say in most right-minded newsfeeds. So, but there's also, I would argue this because this is just me trying to educate you a bit. But there's a lot of stuff that is spewed out of the right wing because the right wing just shouts so loudly. And in a lot of cases, especially like Infowars and Alex Jones, that they really skew the reliability of any source, and people go, I just don't believe you. I think a little bit. So yeah, but I've put the link in there. There's obviously a free version, a pro version, so they're looking for some money. But it's an interesting thing. So do have a look at it. It's just I just think it's quite interesting because I find that loads of people always go, the BBC is really right wing, the BBC is really left wing. Well, it appears to be in the middle.
They try to be in the middle, but a lot of people will point out its flaws of either side of the table.
Yeah,
but nothing can be truly unbiased, can it?
No,
that's what I mean. I feel like it really can't.
Because every newspaper is owned by a billionaire somewhere who wants to keep their money, and the best way of doing that is reporting certain stuff in certain ways that they get to keep their money. That's basically what it is. It's like it's just bad. Also, Lawrence has got a point. Comedy has to be left wing to be successful, so that influences people's beliefs and viewing too. Right. I've got difficulty with what he said there. It doesn't have to be left-wing to be successful. I just think people are getting nicer and don't want to hear racist jokes or sexist jokes.
I
They
would
want to hear
agree.
jokes that are a bit more intelligent. That's what I'd argue. And that's why there's this council culture type thing that happens on the right wing, as it were. Just, they don't want to hear these jokes anymore.
No,
because
they're not funny.
And they're there because they're not funny. So yeah, that's the thing.
Rude.
Right. Anyway, right. We've charged through. So what I might do is I'll save some of the other comments. So we were going to talk a little about climate change, but there is a climate change event happening in Northampton. So once I've got more information about that, I think we can talk about that possibly next week. And I just wanted to quickly just share this. So apparently, new job vacancies surge past 1 million in a new record. So there's before the pandemic, there were like no jobs, but job vacancies have just suddenly gone up. Okay. Why do we think that is? Have you got any ideas?
I don't know. Well, but is this after the pandemic? Like
after the pandemic? Yeah, there's apparently like 1.3 million vacancies now.
I suppose the only reason I can think of is kind of things getting back to more normality, I guess. And before the pandemic and when the pandemic hit, I think it took a massive toll on everyone. People losing their jobs and all sorts of stuff and being made redundant. But I don't know.
Yeah. And also, Lawrence has said that he's recruiting 480 doormen and women, if anyone's looking. And that's because, well, he's about to say all my staff were thrown out with Brexit and retrained under lockdown. So,
where does he work? What does he want doormen for?
On pub doors and nightclubs and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think you would be suitable, Richard, because is the SIA 21 laws? I think it's 20. Was it 21? Or was it 18? I can't quite remember.
I would have thought it'd be 21. I would have thought.
Yeah, he's just put
Damn it, being too young.
Doorman for doors.
I meant like businesses, like restaurant doorman, welcoming hotel doorman.
What? I mean, what restaurants are you going to that need a doorman?
I know, you just need it for like rowdy pubs and stuff.
It depends on what you mean by the word doorman.
Do you mean like a cinema and stuff?
Doorman or like is that a man? It's man by a door.
He basically means he means security, not just like.
Why couldn't he just say I have some security doorman? That would be much more specific.
I just love how sweet and innocent you are. Like you're presuming, like, oh, we just need someone to open the doors for us.
Because they do have some people at like theatre stuff and like cinemas, don't they? That like show people to their seats and stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh,
That's not what you
so
mean.
Much. So funny. Yes. Right. Anyway, so look, I mean,
I'm waiting for Lawrence's response now.
Apparently, Mothercare isn't rough anymore. He has also said SIA is 18 if a company with written letter of approval from a boss. That's cool. So, I mean, Lawrence, you've had your SI badge for as long as I've known you. I almost got it because I thought it might be useful to have for work purposes. But anyway, going back to the job vacancy. So he's obviously lost all these staff because of Brexit and they've retrained, but also the COVID has made this even worse. Even though overall unemployment has dropped, which I'm not sure, I never believe that from any government, left or right, because they manipulate the figures. But yeah, so human health and social work have 167,000 vacancies. That's the most scary. Hospitality, 134,000 vacancies. Scientific and technical professions, 98,000 vacancies. So I look at these top vacancies, those top three, and I'm like, I completely understand hospitality, completely, because I used to run pubs. But the human health and social work and the scientific and technical, that's scary for me. Like, so under COVID, loads of people have retrained, but also because of Brexit, we haven't got access to this European market anymore. And I suppose, let me show this. So one field left off the graph deliberately is defence. Yeah, I actually thought about that earlier, Loz, and I was going to bring it up, but you did it for me. So they haven't included like our national defence in that after they've cut it to the bone. They also it doesn't really look like. So well, they got public admin and defence. Well, I suppose that could be I would look at that as being police officers more than that. Bear in mind the Conservatives cut like so many tens of thousands of jobs from the police all those times ago. But I'll share this on the chat as well, so you can look at that at a later date as well. Yes, Lawrence has said there's 110,000 person shortage of service personnel. Right, so I think we've yet again, even though we had the 2-week break, we've put the world to rights. We've worked out that James shouldn't be Prime Minister by himself. He needs a cabinet of people to stop me going too far loony lefty. Do you know, I'm not actually that far left. I'm really not. I'm more of a left centrist.
Yeah, you sit left in this sort of thing.
Yeah, I know.
You also sit bottom left on the Twitch stream as well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, I think you know what the reason being, because I've been criticised by some colleagues of mine for being too political, right? And I think that you can't do a job as a youth worker without having a social conscience and also being politically engaged, because we're here to help people. And I would argue that anyone on the extreme right doesn't want to help anyone. So a little question from Loz. Do you guys think finding work will be hard?
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Why do you say yes, Owen?
Because I've been struggling for the past 3 years, technically speaking. I lost my first job due to redundancy because it went bankrupt. And all I was doing was one sort of evening shift from 4 till 10 for 30 quid a week. I've worked there for 3 years, left redundant 2 days before my last shift. Find out that 80 quid of my holiday pay was not paid to me, and they go out of business. And by the way, this was Buddy's USA like restaurant branch, like an American Dinosaur branch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about you, Rich? What do you reckon?
Yeah, probably due to COVID. I dare say some places will say you can't work in unless you're double vaccinated or had 1 dose for the vax.
I mean, because as young people, I got asked to try and help with like volunteer stuff in people's businesses and stuff, but they just wouldn't take you on, because during COVID as well, obviously they get told that young people are super spreaders, but it was just too risky for older members of staff to have young people giving them the illness. So is a lack of correct job availability, overqualified, underqualified. But yeah, so I think from young people's perspectives, it's difficult, especially with COVID and whatnot. I mean, Charlotte, you've got a year yet till you have to join the real world of work.
Oh, don't remind me. I'm dreading it.
Yeah, Lawrence said, oh, he's not gone out of business, he's rebranded, but still using some details so you can raise a case to reclaim missing wages. I mean, that was quite a while ago, though, wasn't it, Owen? How long ago
it was quite a while ago, and plus my boss, who was my best mate's dad, is how I got the job. I'm not exactly sure on the actual figure of how much he lost, but he lost quite a fair few thousand, and the area that I was working in, which was Acre Lane, it's now a pub, which isn't a restaurant.
Right. Okay.
It's not an official restaurant. It's more of an actual pub sort of restaurant thing. It's not. I don't think it's run by the same company anymore. I do think that Buddy's has officially gone out of business properly.
I think it has, because I haven't. All the ones that I've seen, they're not there anymore.
Yeah, well, the one in town centre, the actual branding of it is still there, but I don't think anyone's claimed the property of it.
Yeah, there's one in Rushton as well, but it's still sitting there, but it's not in use at all. No one bought it like that, but
Do you know a secret about Buddies? I
go
never
on.
really liked it.
When did
I
you
think
go?
it
Can
was
I ask?
well expensive.
When did you go? When was the last time you went?
I don't know. I don't even know. I just never really liked it. I just thought it's not that the food was bad. It's just like
I think it's
the
just
portions.
overpriced.
It were a bit. The portions were
Massive.
far too big,
Yeah,
and
I
I just thought it
agree.
was a bit expensive. So
Just a bit
From
much,
when
wasn't it?
from when I was working there, the portions got increasingly bigger when we had the new owners in. But the previous owners, who then sold it to the new owners, their portions, as much as they were quite large, they weren't as big as the others.
Yeah.
The second owners.
Really?
That's probably why. Yeah, as much as they were healthier as they were, but yeah.
And apparently the smoked salmon, scrambled eggs, and hollandaise sauce breakfast was amazing. Also, Lawrence has got a message for you, Charlotte. Do your
For
masters
me?
and PhD. It's a trap. Don't leave education.
That's very true. I could just keep going, couldn't I?
Keep going.
Just keep getting degrees.
Right.
That's a good
So
time.
we're at that time where we share something nice or fun or interesting from the week. Owen, what do you want to share?
Well, one thing I will share is I finally have got a job now.
Yeah, you got offered a job. Whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
I've finally got a job. I'm going for my first induction sort of thing on Friday, and I'm working in View in town.
Yeah.
And you're setting your boy up for some cinema tickets to see Shang-Chi.
Well, depending on when I start my first shift, if you come down, I'll happily pay you full price for it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to pay full price. I can't just give you out my discount because of it.
Family and friends discount? Is that an old thing?
If I was going to watch Shang-Chi with you, then I might be able to use the discount. But if I was working at the same time, then no. But I don't know anything about the discounts or stuff yet, so I'm just lucky to at least have a job and start earning a little bit of extra pocket money, as it were. I hope so.
I will await with bated breath when they go.
I'm also looking for another job. Though I'm waiting for another job to come back saying if they would have an interview with me yet. I'm not too sure.
Oh, Lawrence has said, I'm in Scotland for my final phase interview with the Scottish Rugby Union. Big move. Miss you all, but represent you all up north. Yay! That's really good news, Lars. Wow, that's wicked. Amazing. Richard, what have you got to share?
Probably just going back to college.
Yeah.
That meeting all my friends again. Like, it's a lot harder this year from what I've been told. It's going to be a whole lot harder.
Like, yeah, make sure you learn stuff, haven't they?
Well,
yeah. From what I was told, it was going to be the same as last year, just a little bit more detail. What they didn't tell me is that I'm doing a couple new units, and it's a lot more detail. Not a little more, a lot more.
Oh yeah, they'll probably do that.
Oh, bless you. What about you, Charlotte? What's your good thing, fun thing?
I think mine will be that I've got this weekend off work, like the whole weekend.
Because it's your 21st.
Because it's my birthday. What do you think I'm doing for it, James? What do you think I'm doing for it?
What are you pre-drinking?
Of course I am.
What are you doing for your 21st? Where are you going?
Well, the plan is I'm going to have a few drinks at my house.
Yeah.
Then we're going to Northampton, and then we're going to go to MB's.
Ah, standard 21st. There we go.
Oh, it's got to be done.
Go to the Boston as well.
It's going to be a cracking night, James. It's going to be cracking. I'm so excited.
I hope you have a lovely time, because I won't be out.
Thank you very much.
Down Bridge Street.
Well, you're not. No, not gonna see that.
I don't go down there anymore. I just can't be bothered with it.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Oh, it's a cracking night.
You want an old guy to come out on your 21st birthday?
I'd be so excited if I saw you.
That'd be funny. If I turn up all of a sudden, all your friends going, "Who is this creepy old bald guy?"
I'm like, James. Oh, that'd be so good.
Well funny.
I'll be quite surprised if most of your friends think that James is your uncle.
Right, mate. Wow. Just like Put it in thick there, Owen. Thanks very much. Right.
I'm sorry, it had to be done. It had to be done.
Terrible. Right. So my nice fun thing was, I mean, I had a bit of a terrible week last week, to be honest, with my mum being in hospital. She's on the mend. But then I did find a video of a hummingbird, right?
Okay.
But have you ever heard a hummingbird snore?
I haven't. I can't say that I have.
Oh, I've not turned the volume on. Just hold on a second.
I was going to say.
What was I going to say? Oh my, it sounds like a firework.
It's a hummingbird snoring, isn't it cute?
Oh, he's asleep.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Yeah, amazing.
That is cool. That is
that's
good.
so cute.
All right.
And there we go. There's my little fun thing. Lawrence has asked, when you went out, James, it wasn't NBs, it was called Decadence. Actually, Lawrence, I think you'll find it was called Tabasco Jazz. Because now I'm showing my age.
What?
Oh, jeez. Jeez. Yes, it was called Tabasco Jazz, then Decadence, and then NBs. So.
And he's just Northampton Bar. Just love to see
Well,
it.
yeah, it had all these extra fun names in the past. But anyway, thanks to everyone that's coming on. Lawrence, hope your thing with Scottish Rugby Union goes well for your final interview. We will be back again next week for more fun and frolics. Chris, old git, thank you for that. I didn't. That's the reason I didn't answer your phone. I'm going to ring you after it's finished. And Lawrence said, "Wow, James is so much older than me and much more handsome." But on that note, thank you all for coming to watch. Everyone say bye to the stream. Bye, stream.
Right, bye, guys.